Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am taking a close-up look at the Clear Stamp of the Month from Spellbinders. This set is darling with some birds and floral images, sentiments, this banner, and there is a new optional die set to go with the Clear Stamp set of the month. So that is fabulous. Here you can see the stamp set and die set together. The stamp set is called A Little Bird Told Me. It's a 4x6 set with 21 images, and there's the optional die set, Tweet Friends. Here you can see all the images stamped out except the sentiments. I have colored them with my Copic markers so you can see what they look like. The bird was inspired by this picture. When I asked my daughter how I should color the birds, she showed me that picture, and so that's why I colored them like I did. I thought it was a really cute picture. So now I'm using the coordinating dies to die cut out the images that have a coordinating die that goes with them. And they will look just like this when die cut out. And there's the images that don't have a die, so I went ahead and fussy cut those out. And now it's time to stamp on the banner. There's 3 options of sentiments that can go on the banner. I chose thank you. There's also happy birthday and a love one. Love you lots, or love you more. Love you more. That's what it is. Okay, so today I am making 4 cards. This is kind of like if you were coming to my stamp studio and having a class for this stamp set. We're going to be making 4 cards today. So I have this piece of paper that's 3x6 from the paper pack called The Good Life, and I'm putting some vintage photo ink around the edge and just kind of creating a farmhouse look for all of the cards today. So it's going to include a lot of vintage photo and a lot of splatter. I love splatter, so you can take it or leave it, put as much or as little as you like. I like a lot, so you'll see a lot of splatter today. Let me know what you think about the splatter. All right, so this is a DIY hoop. They're sold at Spellbinders. By the way, the paper that I'm using in today's cards and these DIY hoops are currently on sale at the Spellbinders shop. So I'm going to make sure and link that for you guys below. Next, I'm going to add in some of those stamped and colored images that I did at the beginning of the video. And I did, as I went, add in some additional stamped images on the cards because I needed more flowers, but I am going to do 1 card per bird, and then I'm going to use that little ring or wreath that is in the set for another card. So here I put the flowers inside of the ring, or the hoop, and then I'm going to add that little bird right in front. Next, I am taking some twine, which by the way, I bought this at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to stick that down to the hoop once I get it to the size I like with a glue dot. So I'm going to take my glue dots and I'm going to put one right onto the frame itself, that little hoop, and then I'm going to take a second glue dot and put it on the back of my bow and some liquid glue for the peace of mind that that thing is going to stay there. Next, I'm stamping a sentiment in some velvet ink from Altenew, and then I'm going to flag cut the end of it, and then that's going to go right there to the right of my frame. I was just kind of deciding where it should go. I'm going to tuck it under there, and then I'm going to take a little bit of foam tape and put it in the center of the banner. So the banner is going to be arched in the center, and then I'll take some glue to tack down the 2 ends, and it just kind of gives it a special look. So since I'm going with this farmhouse style, I'm going to do some different things that add a little bit of distress to it. So I have this red cardstock that I first tore it, and now I'm crinkling it up and making it very shabby. And I'm going to have just a little piece of this peeking out from under that banner for some added interest. And then I'm bringing in this gold mix gem set and putting some of those in and around. There's more of a yellow gem and more of a brownish gem, but they have a gold undertone. So I thought these were perfect for these cards. So I'm sticking those around the bird and around the banner. Next, I wanted some white splatter. Like I said, I love splatter, but I just felt like a little bit of white on here would really add to the look. And then I thought, oh, I should paint some onto the hoop and give it a little bit of that shabby chic look. It dried back quite a bit, so I think next time I would use less water because I'd already watered it down to do a little bit of white splatter on my card. Also, I did do a little bit of water splatter, focusing on where I did the blending around the edges. So that finishes up card number 1. Let's move on to card number 2. You can see I've already distressed and splattered my card front. Another piece of paper 3x6 from that Good Life paper pack. Now I am stamping out some additional flowers for this card, and I thought I'd show you a little bit of the coloring. So I'm using R02 for my lightest color, and then I'm going to bring in 2 other shades of red to fill these out. So R08 for my darkest, right around the center of that flower, and then I'm going to blend that out with my R05 and then go back in with the R02 to finish it off, leaving the centers white. Now one of those I didn't stamp all the way. That doesn't really matter because I just wanted the largest flower on that, and I'm going to cut out that single flower. So now I have all the pieces cut out. I also stamped some more of those little leafy pieces, and I'm going to just create a border around the edge of my card. So it's not going to meet up in the middle, although you could stamp some more images and have this be a complete frame. That would look cool too. So now I have this other branch piece and that single flower that I cut out, and I'm sticking that right on my little banner. And then I'm going to glue the bird's beak down to the handle of my banner piece, and then to adhere this I covered the back of it with some foam squares, and I'm going to stick this down in the center of the card. I'm attaching that to a white slimline. It's a mini slimline card that measures 6 by 3 and is scored at 3 inches. I like the size when I'm using designer papers because you can easily cut your pieces of paper to 3 by 6 and get a bunch of pieces. It's the perfect size measurement for making mini slimline cards, a 3 by 6. All right, so there we have the finished card with the gems. I'm loving that chicken wire background for these cards. Next, I have a piece of peach cardstock, and then I'm going to stamp this with all those floral images clustered together on one acrylic block, and I'm using that velvet ink again, and I'm just going to create my own background. So I want to randomly stamp this. That means I'm going to have it go off the edge, and each time I stamp it, I'm going to turn the stamp to get a more random feel, except for right here. I turned it all the way around, stamped it the same. Oh gosh. So anyways, I'll just finish this up and I will make sure and get the edges right here. And I'm loving these 2 colors together, and I just love how it turned out. So again, I am going to add some vintage photo around the edge when I am creating a set of cards. After I make the first card, I leave that stuff out on my desk. So as I'm creating the other cards, I can pull and use those products and things in maybe different ways on my other cards, or repeat the look. So my cards have a feel of being a set of cards. So yeah, I added all the splatter things to this card as well. And then I added more florals. So this largest flower from the set, I'm going to use 3 of these on this next card. So some of those I don't end up using right now, because as I was stamping, it kind of came to me what I wanted to do, but I will have those for another card. So now I'm going to color out this little leafy piece to go with it. I'll do 2 of those. And then once those are ready and done, I'm going to get my sentiment ready. So I have that same red cardstock. I pulled out a scrap from my stash, and I only used that 1 scrap on this entire set of 4 cards. So I'm embossing this sentiment with some white powder on this red cardstock, and it says, "Hello, tweet friend." Very cute. So I'm going to cut the ends of this at an angle, and then I'm going to add some more distressed paper to this one. This time pulling out some paper that's kind of craft colored. But I thought I should rough this up a little bit, and so I took my scissors and just used the edge of them and kind of burnished them on the edge of the paper, and it really distresses it and gives it a fun shabby look that goes really good with the farmhouse feel of these cards. So here's this paper I'm crinkling up. I did spritz it with a little bit of water first, and that made it so much more pliable and easy to crinkle up, especially because it was such a small piece of paper. So I thought about just layering it behind, but it was too much. So I went ahead and tore it and made a little piece just like I did on the first one, where I added the little scrap of paper. So I'm sticking that behind, and before I stuck it down, I thought, this little wreath is so stark white. Why don't we splatter it? So I added some splatter, and I kind of sopped a little bit of it up right away just to make it a lot more subtle. Then I stuck the sentiment down with some foam squares, and then I'm going to add the 3 flowers and 2 little greenery pieces to finish off this wreath. I'm just gluing down the 2 outer flowers and 2 outer greenery pieces, but that flower that's going to go in the center is the one I'm going to pop up. This card kind of has a lot of foam squares, which is another thing I love to do until it comes time to add extra postage to all my cards. So I use a little less layers of foam squares than I used to, but I still love it. So I'm popping up this wreath. Now I added this background to also a 3x6 card, but I just originally cut that background down so it was 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. So when I add it to my card, I have that nice white border, which I absolutely love that look. And since this card said hello tweet friend, I stamped that baby bird on the inside. And there you can see finished card number 3. So on to card number 2. I like to use my stamps in different ways than they are created for sometimes. So I took all of the sentiments that are straight, not the wavy ones, and put them on one acrylic block, and I'm going to stamp them with this milk chocolate ink right into my craft cardstock, and I'm going to create a background that is text. So I'm just going to repeat stamp this, and right here I noticed my hello tweet friend was upside down, but I went with it. It was fine because you know this background is going to have some distressed edges. It's going to have some splatter. So it'll be fine that 2 of my sentiments are upside down. It'll be unique, and maybe somebody will see it and be like, what? So it's fun. So here I am adding that vintage photo all around the edge. I love this one. It turned out so good. And yeah, more splatter the better. I am using a scraggly paintbrush to do this, and just dragging it on the edge of my window sheet. I really find I get good splatter doing it that way, and I have a little bit more control. So I needed some more stamped images for this one, so I stamped out this banner again, and I am stamping out this largest flower that has a stem, and then that little greenery piece 2 times. And I already had 2 of these from my original stamping, but I decided to repeat that look on my card, so I stamped out 2 more. Then I'm adding happy birthday to my banner piece with some of that velvet ink. Now this flower I love, so I had to show the coloring. I'm using the same exact markers, my R2, R8, and R5, and coloring it up. Now if you look closely at this bloom, it looks exactly like one of the dies from Spellbinders' large die of the month this month. And there's also a bird die in that die set that coordinates with the birds in this stamp set. So I love that Spellbinders thinks about all the different dies and products and stamps in their monthly kit so you can coordinate them together. So you can see I cut off the stick that was on this little banner, and then I am coloring with a white gel pen to cover up where that stick would show, so I didn't have to fussy cut out this banner. Then I'm going to cut the banner again from that same red cardstock to be a layering piece from behind. Now I added this twine to the top of the card, and I don't actually end up using it, but I thought it was really cool. And when I was tying that bow, I accidentally bent the corner of the card, and I'm like, oh, so cute. I'm going to distress the whole thing. So I'm using my scissors again and adding some shabby little edges to this card, and I love the look of it. It breaks up that edge that has been sponged. So see, now I thought the banner was going to like hang from the bow. I didn't like how it looked. So I tried trimming it down a little so it was more even. That was worse. So I mess with it until finally I decide the bow is not happening on this card, but it's a good idea and you could play around with that and get it to work on your card if you like. And so I'll just leave that there for now and I think about it. Sometimes I have to just think about it, leave it for now and come back to it, and then an idea that I like better will come to it. And sometimes there is something to be said for subtracting from a card versus always adding to it. Sometimes less is more. I generally feel like more is more and more is better, you know, like with splatter, but sometimes I break that rule. So I added the bird with some foam squares and then I put one of those little branches in his mouth and then I popped up the 3 flowers and the 2 other little branches. I wanted it to feel like the flowers were falling down like birthday confetti. So there I took off that bow and just left the banner on the edge of the card, which was actually my original idea, but I thought it would look cute with the bow, but no, it didn't go for today. So next I am adding some of those teeny tiny, they're 2mm gems in that brownish gold. And when I did that, I realized I didn't put any gems on the previous card, so I pulled that out and added some around that wreath. Now let's take a look at all 4 of the cards I made today. I had so much fun splattering and distressing those edges and tearing up paper and making these farmhouse themed cards. So I would love to know what you think because I'm sure you haven't seen me make cards like this ever or in a very long time. So let me know your thoughts and what you think of this format. It did take me a while to make 4 cards, so I don't know how often I'll have videos like this. It's kind of like a card class, but I think it's pretty fun. So tell me your thoughts and that will help me decide if I make more videos like this for you. All right, thank you so much for stopping by, and if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I have new videos all the time. If you liked this video, you can let me know by clicking that little thumbs up button, and if you are interested in any of the supplies for these cards, I have them listed and linked for you below. I thank you so much for stopping by, for shopping my links, for chatting with me. I just love it. Happy stamping. Bye.